Hey everyone, John here from Let's Talk Resident Evil, and welcome back to the channel. Today we were treated with a demo from Capcom with Resident Evil Village, the Village portion, and boy was it fun. We're here to break it down for you and tell you basically everything that we caught going into this demo. So where would we begin a breakdown other than the story? So, as the demo opens up, Ethan runs into the same old lady that we've seen in the other trailers prior to this demo. Right at the beginning, this old lady is doing something crazy. And by crazy, I mean artistic. They do say art, you have to be crazy to be good at it. But she is sketching a sigil or rune into the ground. It looks like a fetus to me. Anthony pointed out that it looks like the number 6. It also looks like the number 6. We're kind of hoping it's not that simple and that it's not Resident Evil 6 coming back to haunt us. And Ethan has no idea what's going on, so he continues into the village and presumably gets into some fights, gets into some scraps, and then comes across a door that's locked. And to his right, there is a voice, and it says, "Hey, there's somebody out there," or "Father, there's somebody out there." And he goes in and he meets Elena. Now, he also meets Leonardo, her father, who happens to be wounded. Now, this is really important because as we progress through the story breakdown, you're going to see something that we have seen in the past and is a Resident Evil staple. So, Leonardo apparently was wounded by a monster and he has a huge gash on his, presumably leg, because he's having a really hard time walking, but it could be anywhere on his body. They really need to get to Luiza's house, who Luiza is a character that we've actually already seen. Yes, Luiza was the character that appeared in the very first reveal trailer for Resident Evil Village, and this demo confirms shot for shot Luiza's existence all the way back then. I thought that was really cool how something we've seen so long ago has ended up being included in the demo. That's just a shout out real quick. We'll put that on the screen for you so you can see it. But now, very important. Let's just back up a little bit to a little building that you do come across, which has a picture of Mother Miranda. And the reason why this is important is because of a scene coming up soon. But Mother Miranda is here. She's looking fly. She's looking, get it, fly, because she's got bird wings. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Lady D is in there. She's looking fine. And to her right, far right, that is Heisenberg. Who we do know now, his name is Carl. So we have Carl Heisenberg and Lady D, but we have 2 new characters, and this is what I was saying in the screenshot breakdown. I was really hoping these 2 characters were house leaders. It hasn't been confirmed, but it's been confirmed, guys. Like, they're the house leaders. I'm going to tell you right now, whichever house is the one with the creepy doll, hashtag my house. I love that character. I'm looking forward to seeing more of that character and whatever that character's house is. I have a feeling, I know it's call me crazy, I think it's going to be my favorite house. So I definitely like that. Which of the houses do you like the most? Obviously, I know 90% of you who are going to leave a like on this video because you support Lady D are going to choose Lady D's house, and that's fine. I also like her house too. These characters have me hooked. I want to know more. I'm excited to know more, and I have a feeling these 5 characters are going to carry this narrative to something we haven't seen in Resident Evil in a while. So I'm really looking forward to that. That answers that question. Moving on. You actually go to Luiza's house. Now, this was kind of shocking to me because you just go. It's like, we got to get to Luiza's house. It's like, oh, where's Luiza? Oh, it's on the other side of the fence? All right, well, let's just knock on the door, and my man, the myth, the legend, Aeolian himself comes out with a shotgun or a rifle or some type of weapon. And this is another thing that we've seen in the very first trailer with this mysterious girl who now we know is named Elena. And he basically is like, hey, what are you doing? I don't like that you're bringing some wounded asshole, some wounded old man, and some outsider to this house. Very reserved, very guarded, very cautious, very scared for his life. I love the characters that we've seen so far. Unfortunately, they all meet a tragic fate, but I do love the characters that we've seen so far. And we're brought into our first meeting with Lady Louisa. Louisa herself comes walking up. She's like, Aeolian, go make yourself useful, do your rounds, stop being a pest, stop pestering these guys, and get the fuck out of here, right? So he goes off reluctantly. Little did he know she was sending him to his death. But he walks away, and she brings us inside because she knows obviously who these people are because they apparently live in the village. And we are finally met with the cult holding hands ceremony room that we've seen since the beginning. Mother Miranda, all the people are like standing around. But we get some backstory. We get to know some new characters. This is what I wanted. Anton, Roxana. We didn't get 3 names for people, but the drunk guy, who we're calling drunk guy, by the way, did say one of them was called Useless. I'm guessing that's the one with the crutch because, I mean, come on. It's not WWF. What's he doing with a crutch other than being useless, right? And then there's the wailing bitch. Guys, dude, which is Roxana, by the way. We know that Roxana's name is Roxana. But he's like, and the wailing bitch, and her husband died, and he was being rude. I don't know about you guys. I would have not let that guy stay in my safe house. I'm just saying. But the 2 we don't know of is the drunk and the useless guy. But we do meet Anton, and we do meet Roxana. There is another character that we didn't meet, and his name is Ernest, and he appears in a file before this room where he talks about how, or somebody talks about how Ernest was missing. Then in this room, we get a little bit about her husband. Louisa's husband's missing. We speculate that Ernest is her husband, and Ernest is the guy in the trailer with the other gun that you see get grabbed from the ceiling in one of the other trailers, which we'll play that on the screen for you real quick. But that is what we think Ernest is. We think it's her husband, which means you meet him before this moment, most likely because that is a great introductory scene to the enemies in this game, not what we've gotten in the demo where you literally walk forward and they're there. I'm guessing you're going to meet Ernest beforehand, so that looks to be Ernest to me. Let me know what you guys think about that. I think that's a pretty solid thing. Now, Leonard. Oh, Leonardo. He has his stroke, and he knocks over the lantern, and he turns, and man, we were wondering why he was holding that machete, and we know why he was holding that machete now, because Louisa gets absolutely destroyed, like point blank, like, and I love how, I'm trying to remain cool. I love how after this guy roars, knocks over a lantern, and drives a machete like basically all the way through someone's chest cavity from the shoulder, my man the drunk hits him over the head with a bottle and tries to stop him. It's great, man. It's just great because it's such a drunk response. He's not even scared because he's so drunk. He just hits him over the head with a bottle. Leonardo, the wolf now, he's obviously turning, which is important because that means that just a wound can turn people. Interesting. Where have we seen that before? Every Resident Evil ever, basically. Which is awesome. But by the way, that's not a flick. That's a good thing. He catches the house on fire, which we did predict, which was funny. But he does catch the house on fire. He does kill all these people. And then he attacks you. Now, one of the coolest things I love in video games, one of the coolest things that video games can do is they teach you the story through gameplay. And this is a very small instance of this, but you do get tackled to the ground no matter how many bullets you put into Leonardo's beast form or turning form. He still looks just like Leonardo, but you can't stop him. He tackles you to the ground, and Elena puts one in him. And yes, I mean bullet. And then puts a second one in him. And Ethan kind of talks her down. Still very confused at what the fuck's going on. He's not happy, obviously. He's got a missing baby. He's got all this stuff. He's trying to talk her down. Ends up driving a car to TLDR. Ends up driving a car through the wall. It falls over. They can't get through the house because she takes out her father. She's upset. They climb up. Her father is still alive. Unfortunately, Elena tragically dies somehow. She was safe, but then her father was talking to her and a whole bunch of stuff happened, and she tragically dies, unfortunately. Which was a really good scene because I really liked how, like, you met her. Like, it's so Resident Evil, right? Like, you meet all these new people and they're all dead like that. It sets the stakes. It was very good decision making. Although Elena was pretty cool and I was hoping she would live a little longer. However, she might not have died, ladies and gentlemen, because in the first trailer, you do see Elena with a lantern. Which means one of two things. You're either going to get a playable segment as her, leading up to the point where she meets Ethan right there, or she's going to come back later on in the story. I kind of hope she comes back later on in the story, but I don't mind either way. As long as we get some more content with her, I actually liked her character. And it does sound like Nikki Lee Tompkins is her voice actress. That's cool. I mean, Jeff Shine's obviously Chris Redfield, so another reuse of a voice actor. I personally am not a big fan of the recycling of the voice actors. I think each character should, have a different voice actor within the same franchise, unless it's like a throwing voice, like either somebody goes really high, like a squeaky voice, like a cartoon almost. But I know Jeff and Nikki are both phenomenal actors, so they're going to knock it out of the park. Hopefully she has a bigger role. After this, Ethan goes through a meltdown. He's just not understanding why it's all happening again. He's pissed. He's smashing his fist against the wood, and then he jumps out the window. Basically, you unlock the castle door, which is awesome, because, the demon door is something we've really, really, really been looking forward to seeing. I was slightly disappointed it was just like, in the demo, it's just like, boop, boop, and it opens. However, it is cool. We did speculate in the past it could be the entrance to the castle. That's what it is. So that's awesome. However, before you get there, you do get to see Mother Miranda. You open these double gates. You hear some gunshots from our boy, Eolian. He begs Mother Miranda not to stop, and just as you open the gate, she decimates him. She decimates him so hard his body ain't even there. I'm speculating his body will be there in the final game, and he'll have some type of key on him, maybe for the graveyard or one of the keys that you could have picked up along the way. There's a couple locked doors along the way, and there's definitely gonna be more content. But I think his body will be there. I thought that was a crazy effective scene. Ethan's like flabbergasted. She walks away, and then when you go after her, you run into the old woman again. Is the old woman a shapeshifter? Is the old woman Mother Miranda after all? When we were playing the demo, I wasn't too sure because I was like, well, if she's here talking to us, and then the villagers are calling her a crazy old woman like they interact with her all the time, and they're not saying her name is Mother Miranda, then who is she? And why does she wear such similar clothes? Is she a shapeshifter? Why are there two skulls on her scepter? Is this two different forms? Is she the yin to her yang? There's so many questions. I can't wait to find out. The major point is I want to know more. I thought that was very effective. And yeah, man, that's pretty much the castle. Or leading up to the castle, when you open the doors, you get a great shot of the castle, which is probably where the castle demo will take place. Right after this demo, I think that would be a good idea. Unless there's a segment between it, then they might just skip us to when we actually get to the castle. But that's the story of the demo. Now, speaking of gameplay, let's just go over some things first. The game looks gorgeous. It looks great. It runs very smooth. Controlling Ethan feels good. Combat feels responsive, intuitive. I definitely like the haptic feedback on the PlayStation 5. If you are playing this game on a PlayStation 5 when you get it, you're in for a treat. For those of you who aren't fans of like the gimmicks of consoles, you can turn the haptic feedback off. Just like vibration or any other setting, you can turn it off. I'm hoping that this is just a demo problem. I'm not saying the puzzles in the game will be bland. I hope it's just a demo problem. I hope the puzzles actually use a little bit more brain power than the last couple of games do. 7 probably had the most intricate puzzles, and it still wasn't that crazy. I'd really like to see some more puzzles, especially with the first-person camera. You can take advantage of that camera angle. Please do it, Capcom. It would be great. Let's see more cool puzzles than just pick up and put in. Obviously, this is a demo, so it could have been the blandest of puzzles. There could be more puzzles. Also, as a side note, there is one area that we did peer into that has some type of item that looks like a stone slate with a name on it. Probably a puzzle, so look out for that one. We couldn't get in there, though. And the only other real complaint I have, I'm really disappointed that files are not collectible again. Like, I like when files are collectible. I like when you pick up a file and you read it. You can go back and read it whenever you want. There doesn't seem to be a file menu in the menu. There doesn't seem to be a recollection of what you've read and what you've picked up. I think it's crucial for the player to understand the story. If they want to go back and read, let them. There's no reason you shouldn't. Let them read. Ever since Resident Evil 5, I've really hated the system where like files had to be read through the menus or through anything else. So I really hope that next time, or maybe in the final product it'll change. I just hope files will be permanent things that you can collect and read. I really like my files, guys. I know it's stupid, but that's the only thing. Without a doubt, one of the coolest things about Resident Evil Village's demo is the combat.
Now, we can't talk about the Resident Evil Village gameplay without talking about the combat. The combat is crucial to every single Resident Evil game and how you will survive through the horror. Now, we have handguns, shotguns, mines, and a knife in this Village demo. We may get more in the castle demo, not sure. They might not want to spoil all the weapons so soon, but this is what they gave us in the demo to kind of mess around with. And of course, the shotgun is our favorite here. We also had mines, which were interesting because we haven't seen mines since Resident Evil 5. Now let's get into some of the differences here with the crafting. As you guys know, in previous Resident Evils, there was always ammo crafting and crafting of health with herbs. This returns in Resident Evil Village, and it makes a nice warm return. There is a difference, though. What's that difference? Well, the crafting now takes place in its own separate menu. So all the crafting of the ammo and the health are all done in a separate spot within the inventory system. This is something that, I'll be honest, guys, me personally, it's going to take some getting used to. Only because I'm always used to doing everything in the inventory system. But again, because this was a timed demo, we really didn't have any time to mess around with it more. We just had to do it really quick and know how to operate and maneuver everything. Now, the inventory in this game, I'm a big fan. I think it looks very reminiscent of the Resident Evil 4 weapon case. And that's not a bad thing to say, because the Resident Evil 4 weapon cases in the expandable inventory slots is something that is returning in this game, just like how it was in that game, but of course it's redefined. So we already know that, judging from the Duke and what we saw in the gameplay and screenshots, there were little screenshots of you being able to buy extra slots and storage for your weapon case. Now it looks like they just give you a standard size one here in the demo, and within that is the crafting menu. But the thing is that I'm used to just doing it in the inventory itself. Of course, in Resident Evil 4, when we were combining herbs and everything, we did all of that in the weapon case. It didn't bring us to a different menu. So something that we're going to have to play a little bit more to see how it feels in the main game. I don't think the demo is a great indication of how that's going to be. So that's just a little thing that, I noticed when playing on my playthroughs of the demo. But again, the inventory is really redefined here. I mean, this really seems like they took everything from the RE engine, and when they started the inventory, we saw it in its infancy with Resident Evil 7, and it developed through 2 and 3 remake, and now we have something that has completely evolved into this, but it also is kind of going back in familiar territory, because Resident Evil 5 and 6 just had blocks as their inventory. You had the magic pocket. With this, you do have to have enough space to carry everything, and of course it's a video game, so your character still can't carry around everything that they have in their magic pocket, but it seems to have more of a strategy to it. And where you place your weapons and your ammo and your health within your weapon case and your inventory system in combat is super important. As we know in the past Resident Evil games, knowing where everything is will also create a more fluent experience. You won't be fumbling around in your inventory wondering where stuff is. The big thing in Resident Evil 4 was organizing your inventory and everything and having everything the way you like it. So you're going to play differently than your buddy. I'm going to play differently than John. We're going to have our inventory all different for ourselves. And we might do different things. And that's one thing that I do like about them bringing back this inventory system and revamping it a little bit. The crafting is something that's still there, like I said before. Now, moving on from the inventory system, let's talk about the environments. You know, we talked about the gameplay a little bit earlier, but again, with the RE engine, it's always expanding on the environments. Now, we didn't see much of environmentals in the clips that we've seen up until this point. In the demos that we've seen up until this point, there isn't any explosive barrels. We don't see our favorite red barrels. There's no kind of generator, but there is flower stacks. Yeah, flower stacks can be found in this demo. The idea of them is if you shoot them or slice them with the knife, it kicks up some of the flour to cover yourself against enemies. Now, the only thing that I noticed in this demo is that they didn't really place them out by the enemies. They kind of had them off in the cabin and stuff like that. So, again, just in the demo, it didn't really seem to serve purpose, but I can see them using more environmentals as the combat gets more intense and extensive, because let's face it, just judging from what we've seen so far, there's going to be a lot more enemies on screen at once. There's going to be bigger mobs of enemies all coming at Ethan, so there should be some environmentals just to kind of break it up. Even Resident Evil 4 had explosive barrels, so it's one of those things where we may see lanterns come back too. In Resident Evil 4, you can shoot lanterns from the ceiling and they would fall down and set the Ganados on fire. We might see that as well. But flour is a new addition, so have fun with that. But if you're like us, you might have noticed, why was the flour in a cabin, in a hut, rather than being out by the enemies? I don't really know. One thing that we've seen in Resident Evil games before is blocking the doors with some kind of barricade. We've seen windows being barricaded in the remakes, and we've also seen bookshelf and shelves covering doors in the past Resident Evil games, so it looks like Ethan, when taking shelter, can utilize these features. We didn't get any specific barricading of windows yet, just the barricading of the bookshelves, but I don't see why they wouldn't add that in there if there's a section of the game in which you need to protect yourself. One thing that we noticed in the gameplay demo earlier, before we got our hands on it, was the use of blocking. The blocking has improved tremendously. You can shoot while blocking. So not only can you kick when you're close enough and you can shove the enemies away, while you're blocking, you can do a quick little pop shot and knock the enemies back. This is going to be a big thing because we really didn't have much of a blocking system in Resident Evil 7, so it's good to see that they kind of evolved it a little bit, and it kind of makes sense, whether they did this on purpose or not, but from a character perspective, Ethan is more tactical, I guess that's the word. So, you know, between his reloads and his skill, he's seen some shit. So it looks like that he is, you know, more prepared this time. So it makes sense with the blocking, and now he's a little bit more confident in the battle, and it seems like he has more ways to push off enemies. Now, discussing the enemies, we did notice in the demo they do drop loot, just like other enemies in past Resident Evil games, but more so this time because they drop currency, they drop treasures, and it does seem to be random in which it happens. We also found the Crystal Skull in our playthroughs, which you can find if you kill the guys again in the tall grass. They do respawn, and you can kill them. That's where we found it. But again, it will be random in the main game, I'm sure, and even in the future demos. But them dropping loot is great because it does seem that, you know, it can still be random to some regard, but is important because you have the options on whether you can flee or you can fight. And if you fight, you get rewarded with whatever they drop. Depending on your situation within the game, if you feel like it's better to fight and try to get as much as possible so you can upgrade your stuff to the Duke, that's going to be another thing, because just like going back to Resident Evil 4, that was a big balance that they had in that game. You can either run or you can fight, and you get rewarded with that stuff, and then you can spend it on the Duke. So that is another option there. The crows can also be shot to drop loot. So just like in Resident Evil 4, you can shoot the crows and they drop loot as well. It's interesting to note that the treasure sound when the treasure gets dropped on the ground, it sounds just like the Resident Evil 4 sound effect. Now, this isn't the first time Capcom has reused certain sound effects before in current Resident Evil games. I just thought that was interesting to note. I'm curious to see if there is going to be some kind of treasure map within the gameplay as you progress. Another thing that returned is the ability to shoot down treasures. So this time you can shoot down multiple treasures that are hanging from trees in what appears to be bird cages. They do drop different currency depending on the mode. So if you are on hardcore, you may be rewarded with higher currency. And then if you're on the lighter modes, you might get a normal amount of currency. So there is a difference there as well. So not only are they within the crows, but you have to look around and have a sharp eye, because if you shoot down the extra treasures, they will benefit you within the game. And it's a cool feature that they added onto the demo. I'm curious to see if they're going to add a treasure map in some regard. Maybe there's going to be a trophy that has you shoot down all the bird cages, or if you find them all in the area, you may get rewarded. I wonder if they're going to do stuff like that again. That is something that the merchant did. So it will be cool to see what happens, because these areas are massive. So having a treasure map and being able to go and look for more treasures when we actually have the full time to do so, I think that will be really entertaining. And it will also be a good way to take your time to look for the loot, because again, taking your time actually works in Resident Evil, not with this demo because, you're up against the clock, but you get what I'm saying. The currency system really will affect the combat, because if you can upgrade Ethan to your liking, it's going to make it a lot more easier. Speaking of easy, if you are on casual mode, the auto aim returns for casual mode. So if you just want to play on casual and you don't have to worry about the aiming and making sure you hit every single enemy, there is the auto aim feature in casual mode as well, and you can check it out in the demo. One thing that we noticed that was returning when we had a screenshot of the Duke and we saw that you can purchase mines from the Duke is the landmine. The mine is in the demo. You can pick up one and you can use it on the tall grass enemies. The mines work better than ever, and it does appear to be more effective if you have multiple enemies around the mines and they can knock the enemies down. Now, the RE engine is incredible, like we said multiple times. The environments are gorgeous, and it looks incredible on the PlayStation 5 from the footage that you see here. But the environments aren't just there to look pretty. They're breakable environments. So the environments are expanded upon because you can break fences. So if you don't feel like jumping over the fence, you can just break that motherfucker and walk over it. Or you can break the glass and cabinets and so on and so forth. We already talked about the environmentals, but it does look like they are expanding on what the RE engine can do. This is a next-gen Resident Evil title. It is going to be better. It is going to always improve on what it did before. So far, this RE engine is the most buffed out we've seen it so far, and the environments being breakable and having all of that there really makes it feel way more realistic. Now, circling back around to the enemies. The enemies in this game, the AI, in my opinion, is some of the best that I've ever seen in a Resident Evil game. They're very smart. They use their environment against you, and they know exactly what they're doing. And of course, we've seen the enemies jump and kind of dodge and group around you in the other trailers and demos that we've seen where there's multiple enemies around. I think the most that are on the screen in this demo are 3 at once that are coming at you. So that just gives you a little taste, but they do seem to be more threatening and a lot more smarter. Now, another thing that we have to bring up is how they combo you. Yes, the enemies combo you. That means if you're getting attacked by one side, another enemy can come out and attack your other limb. Yes, so they can team up on you and really make you feel threatened. So this stresses the whole combat and inventory system, making sure your inventory is ready to go, making sure your choices with the Duke are sparing. You have to make sure that you're spending money on the right stuff to make sure you don't find yourself in a situation where you're getting overwhelmed. Because, like I mentioned, just from the other things that we've seen, there's going to be multiple enemies on screen, way more than what we saw in this demo. This is just a taste. But the fact that they can multi-hit and combo you really increases the threat. And that does make me happy to see, because we do like a challenge here at LTRE, and it's good to see that the enemies are playing in the favor of being... And it's good to see that the enemies are kind of playing in favor of the new RE engine. They didn't just recycle enemies from 7 or a remake. They are brand new. They have a new aesthetic to them and a new AI as well. And they do take cover, like I mentioned before, they take cover in the tall grass and in the environments. They hide, they play with you. They know what they're doing. So kudos to Capcom on that, because the AI seems to be good so far. Make sure that you let us know in the comments below what you think about Resident Evil Village and the demo and everything you've seen so far. And next Saturday, at the same time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Castle demo will be released, and we will be live, and we'll be doing a breakdown and all that good stuff, covering it every step of the way, leading up to our 24-hour live stream of Resident Evil Village. I want to put that in there as well. But next week will also be the return of the Let's Talk Resident Evil podcast on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Libsyn. Me and John are going to be doing a deep discussion on everything that we've gotten so far right before the Castle demo, and then we'll continue onward with that. We have a lot of stuff coming out for you guys, so if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the like button and leave a comment and let us know how you feel in the community. Most of it's been positive so far, and we can't thank you enough for all the support. I'm serious, guys. Like, the stream support was amazing, and the conversations in the community, everything's been firing on all cylinders, and we have you guys to thank for that. And I'm really excited for Resident Evil Village. I'm really looking forward to it. The demo is hyping me up personally, so I don't know what else to say. I want more. I want to play more. I'm upset it was a time demo, obviously. Me and John feel the same way on that, but you know, we'll take what we can get at this point. So next Saturday we'll be here live again on YouTube, and the links down below for all our social media platforms. We have the Discord, and we also have Patreon. We're starting at $1 a month. You can join in on polls that we have for the channel, so you can vote on content as well. Just a big thanks to all you guys. We really appreciate the love and support, and stay tuned for more Resident Evil Village content. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. A big shout out to everyone that supports us over on Patreon. Starting at just $1 a month, you can join on exclusive polls, and you can vote on content for the channel. We literally couldn't do this without you guys, and we really appreciate all the support across all tiers. Thank you for all your support, and we'll catch you next time right here on Let's Talk Resident Evil.